I failed my PNC insurance exam 2 times, and finally I cracked the code and passed on my third try. So let me tell you what I learned and steal my strategy. Today we're going to be talking about how to pass the PNC insurance exam. As of the moment that I'm recording this video, I have passed my exam on the third try. So I'm very happy that I made it, because I didn't know that in Florida there's a limit of 5 times you can take it in 1 year. So thank you, universe, that I passed it on my third try. So I cracked the code and came up with this strategy that worked for me and helped me pass. So the first thing you're gonna do is find your test provider's outline. My test provider was Pearson VUE, and this is what their test outline looks like. And as you can see, I highlighted a lot of the parts where I had trouble with and I needed to focus on. You'll see in the outline that every part has like a percentage of what it's worth. So you'll know, that way you know what to focus more of versus what not to. I'm not saying to not study this, but just like, it's so much information for the PNC exam because it's general lines insurance. You have to study auto insurance, home insurance, commercial lines, ocean, marine, depending on your state. There was a lot of commercial lines and Florida statutes and everything like that, but I'm gonna go over it a little bit more as we progress in the video. But the first thing you have to do, because this will dictate your study strategy, is to find the outline of your test. Think about this as a rubric. You know how your teachers give you like a syllabus at the beginning of a semester saying this is what we're going to be covering in the class, but you don't have to really have to memorize the syllabus. It's like a guide. Okay, this is what we're going to be covering in the class during the semester. It's the same thing. This is what we're going to be covering during the test. This is what we're going to study. Okay? Tip number 2, find the right course. Now, typically what happens is you interview before taking any test, and your agency will provide you a link to their pre-licensing course or the pre-licensing courses that they have partnership with. Now, my agency gave me a few options and let me choose it, but I didn't know any better, and I chose the wrong one based on pricing, because what happens is the agency gives you their partner number so you can get a discount on these courses. But what happens is they'll just tell you, like, here are the options you have, choose the best one for you according to your budget or what have you. But that's exactly what I did. I just chose something according to my budget, not according to, I didn't do any research on which one to choose. So that's what I'm recommending to you. If they give you these options, research each one and see which one is better than in comparison to the other, and that way you'll have like more information and a lot more of a base of what actually happens in the test. Because a lot of these pre-licensing courses, they'll give you, it's a lot of information. Yes, a lot of it comes in the test, but then like state specific information was missing from my course, and that's why I failed twice. So I don't want that to happen to you. So research the best one for you. I've heard that Excel Solutions is good. I personally started with Excel for life insurance, but I didn't pursue that avenue. I didn't really like it because they just give you like so much like text that you have to read and just one video at the end, and that's it. The one I chose, although it didn't have the information in terms of how it looks, like the software was better for me because all of the chapters were an audio version as well, and they have an explanation video at the end of each chapter, and they'll give you like a summary and a practice quiz. But what happens is that a lot of these questions are not looking like the ones on the test. They're a lot longer. They're like these giant paragraph questions that are not, they're really not aligned to what Pearson is doing. Because the test itself, I was very surprised when I opened it up when I was taking it the first time, because I had practice with these massive questions. I was like, damn, this is going to take me so long to read. My time is going to run out. So when I looked at the test, it was just one line, ABCD, multiple choice. That's it. The maximum is maybe 3 lines of text. But these are like massive text questions. So that's where it's not aligned, it's misaligned into like what is actually on the test and what you're practicing. Doesn't make sense. So that's why I'm saying pay attention to what people are saying online and what recommendations are being said online about people who already taken it and passed. Which courses do they recommend? Number 3, it's all about terms and formulas. This test is nothing but just terms, definitions, and formulas. If you know the definition of a term, it doesn't matter how they word it, you won't miss it, because they do these kind of tricky scenarios. But if you know the policy, if you know the term, it's like, you can't mess with me. I know exactly what you're trying to do and you're not going to trick me. Because that happened to me already. So a good trick that worked for me were index cards. A lot of these courses, you can get printable material like index cards like these. They may come printable, but I didn't pay for that, so I wrote all of them down myself. And also it helps with muscle memory. Like whatever you write down, you will remember. And I did that a lot. Like I wrote almost everything down. But you don't have to do that. That's just me, because I could see this in my head. I could see like the what the term was, and I would see it flip around in my head and just see what it was, like the definition. That's how my brain works. It's very visual. So what I would do, even with the math question, so I would do index cards like these, where it says, like, if you're in the audio version, I'm holding an index card. It says like auto split limits, and I just did like this little drawing graph of like what each one means, so it's easy for me to remember. So like the first 2 numbers is going to be BI, which is bodily injury. So that's going to be easy for me to remember. And then the last one will be property damage, that has nothing to do with humans, but has to do with the car itself, the property destroyed, like objects. So that's how my brain works. Just put like the 2 first numbers have to do with humans, and the last number has to do with the car. That's a memory trick for me. And then for the formulas, there are 2, really there are 3. But I didn't write down the deductible one, because for me it's pretty easy. The deductible is just something that you have to pay up front. So out of the total, you have to subtract the deductible, and that's it. It's like a subtraction. So I didn't write it down. I thought that was easy. So what I did do, I put the co-insurance formula. I put it right here. And first I did step 1, step 2, step 3. Well, actually, there's only 2 steps. So step 1, I did step 1 and step 2 right here. So it's easy for me to remember what am I supposed to put in these formulas. And then also the pro rata formula, I also did that one. It's very similar to co-insurance, but not the same. Similar, not the same, okay? So I would focus on these 2 formulas, and deductibles if it's a little bit hard for you to remember. Deductibles always a subtraction. Doesn't matter what it is, it's always minus deductible. That was easy for me. So in my test and in Florida test, these 2 were the biggest math questions. So what I did, I had these formulas memorized, and then I also had a bunch of practice questions from the book, which that brings me to point number 4. find a well-recommended PNC book or study guide from your state. Let me repeat that. Find a well-recommended PNC study guide for your state. I chose this book right here. It was well recommended on Amazon. I found it on Kindle for free. I just did a 30-day free trial on Kindle and I just went home with it. And it was like the best thing I ever did. A lot of those questions came up in my exam with Florida statutes and rules and regulations, and I got a really high score on that part, which helped me push me over the edge to a passing grade. Make sure that these titles say the year that you're taking the test. So mine says 25-26, and this author has more books, so check out if he has a book for your state. I know that he has Florida and Georgia. I saw that. I don't know if he has for all of the states. Just be sure to check him out. He's really good. And he had Pearson specific testing strategy and practice questions that were specific to Pearson, and that really helped. Really helped. I cannot say more reallys because it helped a lot. Step number 5, I would check out the Insurance Exams Queen's YouTube channel. She has her own set of courses, not sponsored by the way. When I didn't pass, what I did was not only did I dive into her YouTube channel, I also purchased a course from her that helped me with the gaps that I was struggling with, because she does cover a lot of general insurance that will show up in your test, and she's taken the test herself in multiple states to see what they ask. And then she'll explain it to you in a way that it's real world and you can understand and you'll remember. For me, since I didn't pass, she has like a score calculator. So I put in my score. To give you an example, you need 70 to pass, and I didn't pass for 2 points, so I had a 68. And I put in my score, and and then the calculator recommends which course should you buy, and I got the basic one, which was bronze, and was like $29, because that means I know most of the material. I'm just lacking in certain terms, and exactly the things that I was struggling with were on that course, and she explained it in a way that I could just hear her voice in my test, like, this is how you do it. And she does like drawings and everything, so it's so easy to remember. So I recommend her 100%. If you haven't taken the exam yet, I would recommend like the whole course. It's just she'll explain it so easy. Like, take your pre-licensing course because it's required by the state, right? And then complement it with her course and your state specific book, because it's very important to know that big chunk of this test is about like state specific statutes and regulations. Number 6 are test taking strategies. So here's what I did. First thing you're going to do when you're taking the test, you're sitting down in front of the screen and you're taking the test. First thing you're going to do is to answer every single question you know. You know it, you answer it. You don't look back. This will minimize the amount of time you spend on one question. You don't spend too much time on one question because the test is about 3 hours. So you will have time later to come back. So then what you'll do is the questions you don't know or you have doubts about, you flag it. There's a little button, you flag it. So you'll have the time to think about it. You won't be stressing like, oh my God, my time is running out, and all this stress, and then the stress will shrink your IQ, and you won't remember anything, and no, we're not gonna do that. Take a deep breath. Okay? Just answer what you know, flag what you don't know. And then on that note, also, the third thing I would recommend on this point is leave math for the end. If you are like me, that math is not your strong suit, leave it for the end. Flag it, leave it for the end. So, to summarize, what I recommend you to do when taking the test is 1, answer all that you know. 2, flag what you don't know or you have doubts about. Don't waste time. 3, leave math for the end. It's a different part of your brain, doesn't have to do with memory. Flag it, leave it at the end. Now, when you're reviewing, the first thing you're going to do is go to those questions that require you thinking. Don't go to math. Remember, math goes at the end. Different part of your brain. Memory is your frontal lobe. Math is problem solving. It's somewhere else in the brain. Don't remember where, but somewhere else. So we're going to stick right here because this is already activated. Your memory is already activated because you've been practicing it with the other questions. So we're going to keep the momentum and we're going to answer those questions that we have doubts. Now, if you don't know, just make your best educated guess and think about logically. Okay, I'll go through it. Just do like a process of elimination or something that makes sense to you in the real world. Example, when it comes to personal property, there was this one question that asked, will this boat be covered as personal property? That's a trick question because you have to think back. What are the requirements to be a boat be classified as A, personal property, or B, ocean marine or inland marine policies? And it all has to do with the motor horsepower, actual size of the boat. Me about all these different motor boats, so which one would be personal property? Well, I had to really think about it and remember that, oh wait, a boat that has to be in a boating policy has to have 26 feet and I don't know how many horsepower, and this little boat only has like 12 horsepower and is pretty tiny. Okay, that's personal property. Boom. That's it. You see how I did it? It just like, it's not even a memory thing, really. It's more of like application and association. Application, association. That's how you get through those tricky questions. Next, we're going to move to math at the end, and they'll give you a calculator and somewhere to write, and you're going to do your little calculations, and you're done. And now if you want to review it again, you go to the review page and you go through each one and review. I did that, and thank God I did, because I had like 3 wrong. If I had 3 wrong, I wouldn't have passed this time. I'd be so mad at myself again. So thank God that I had the time. I had like an hour left from my 3-hour time because I did the right strategy. I saved that time for me to calmly review my answers, because sometimes when you're stressed out, you pick the wrong answers. Finally, point number 7, I think is one of the most important ones, is mindset. You want to be in the most calm mindset as possible. I recently found out through a YouTube video by Cody Sanchez. I'm such a fan of Cody Sanchez. But she said in one of her videos that stress shrinks your IQ. It lowers your capability of decision making. And I didn't know that. And that explains a lot of what happened to me in the first 2 times when I took this test. It stressed me out. I got stressed out. I stressed out myself with the whole, all this mental blah, blah, blah that happens. All this like thoughts of like, if you don't pass this test, then you don't have a job. If you don't pass this test, then your offer is rescinded. All that nonsense is occupying real estate in your brain. You need to cut it out. Cut it out. And it happened to me on my 3rd try too, because those negative thoughts will come into your brain. All I did was look at the screen and I said, all of that is not important. The only thing that's important is this question in front of me right here, right now. What's happening later, what happened before, doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. The past is in the past. You cannot go back. The future, you don't know it. It's uncertain. You cannot move forward. You cannot go you cannot go forward in time, and you cannot go back in time. So it's useless to occupy real estate in your mind about it. What's important is what's in front of you right here, right now, because that's the only thing you can control, nothing else. Another perception you can take is thinking about it as an experiment. So I do little habits where I learn and I tweak. I don't really dwell on things because I used to dwell a lot too much on what I did, what I didn't do, and if what, whatever. And that really occupied too much space up here for me, and it was stressing me out. I was stressing myself out. So what I did was change the aspect of what if it's an experiment. If you're doing an experiment, you keep doing the experiment and tweaking little habits, little things. And what I did was like, okay, so last time I didn't have the book, last time I didn't have the insurance exam queen, last time I didn't know about the outline. So these are things I tweaked. You see, I did 3 things that this strategy that I did was at the end, and I tweaked what I was doing. Instead of focusing so much on the pre-licensing course, I went ahead and tried again. And I said, okay, I need to tweak what I'm doing because I keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. Okay? So you need to adjust and adjust. This didn't work. Okay, let me adjust over here. Let me adjust over here. Let me adjust over here. Adjust. So think about it. This test is an experiment. If I do these strategies, if I do these things, what will be the outcome? I wonder and find out. Don't put too much weight on it because you're putting all that weight on yourself. This whole like, oh, it's if I don't pass, I don't have a job. If I don't pass this, how about what happens if you do pass? Let's think about that. What happens if I do pass? Oh my God, I'll have an amazing job in insurance. Oh my God, all my opportunities open. Oh my God, I can sell any type of insurance I want because all these insurance is general lines, and I can sell home and auto. I can sell commercial. I can sell boating insurance. I can sell in Florida. You can sell health insurance too with this with this line. So there's so many things you can do with this license that, oh my God, what if something good happens? What if I actually pass? You have to shift your perspective into seeing it as an experiment, to quiet your mind, focus on your present moment, and think about all the good possibilities instead of the bad. Like, don't be pessimistic and think about the worst case scenario. Think about the best case scenario. And finally, my final tip is to not give up. Don't give up on yourself, because you deserve the opportunity to see financial freedom. You deserve the opportunity to work in a new industry where possibilities are endless. You deserve this chance to choose your own path. You deserve it. I believe in you and believe in yourself. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about this video, and if you want more, I will do just that. Thank you. Bye.